Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Reliant Stadium in Houston, where the Houston Texans will take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Happy New Year to all of you from all of us here at CBS Sports. A look at the playoff picture. One spot still to be decided, and that to be determined between the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville with a shot at it if they can beat the Houston Texans here and have the Colts lose to the Tennessee Titans. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. The Jacksonville Jaguars have won the toss and have deferred first possession. They will kick it away to the Houston Texans. Happy New Year, Mr. Deerdorf.
Happy New Year to you, Greg. It's the final weekend of the season and playoff implications in this game. But again, you're right. Jacksonville put themselves in this spot where they need to do a little scoreboard watching. They need help.
Steve Slayton is deep for the kick for Houston, and he will return this from the 1. And running room out across the 30, and a penalty marker flies. That is Jack Del Rio of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Our referee today is Jeff Triplett.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 19, the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Doran Dickerson, the guilty party. As we take a look at Matt Schaub, the Houston quarterback, back-to-back seasons throwing for more than 4,000 yards. His 347 completions, the third most in the NFL at the start of this day. And from his own 10-yard line, Schaub to throw. Far side of the field and overthrows his intended receiver, Jacoby Jones. Let's check the offensive line that has paved the road for a pretty decent ground game. Left guard Wade Smith is the veteran in his 7th season. Running back Arian Foster, the league's leading rusher, entering this final day of the regular season. And at wide receiver, Jacoby Jones starts for the injured Andre Johnson. Offense, Dan, has not been the problem for the Houston Texans this year.
No, it's the other side of the ball that has really perplexed Gary Kubiak and been their Achilles heel.
On 2nd and 10, Schaub to the near side, and that is complete and out of bounds at about the 19-yard line to Kevin Walter. The Jaguars 4-3 defense. It is young third-year defensive end Jeremy Mincey, the sack leader up front with 5. The linebackers, Russell Allen starts for injured Justin Durant. He joins Smith and Morrison. In secondary, strong safety Courtney Green with a game-time decision with a bad shoulder, but he is in the lineup today. 3rd and short yardage. This is Foster. Foster with running room. Lots of running room. And out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Bumped out by Don Carey.
Well, we asked Arian Foster, how would you describe your running style? He said, I'm a one-cut guy. Folks, this is one cut. And what a hole and an alley that he saw. What a lack of lane discipline there by Jacksonville up front, allowing a hole that size, and boy, did Foster take advantage of it. And if you're looking to secure the rushing title, that's a nice way to start a game.
He just regained the lead with that 56-yard jaunt. On first down, this is Derek Ward, left side, inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal.
Well, even overcoming a penalty on the kickoff that gave Houston really poor field position to start this game. Jack Del Rio right now has got to be going, are you kidding me? They're carving us up, and we're the ones who need the win.
It's the Texans that look like the team that still has postseason aspirations. 1st and goal from the 6.
Well, granted, we're not even 2 minutes into this game, but some start.
They have gone 84 yards in 4 plays. This is Ward again. Tripped up just as he crossed the 5. He had an open route to the end zone.
Well, Arian Foster, as Greg said at the top, was the leading rusher coming into today. Jamal Charles overtook him because Kansas City was playing earlier. So actually at kickoff, Jamal Charles was the leading rusher in the National Football League, but he has let's put it this way. He didn't hold it for very long.
No. Now, Chris Johnson is in action against Indianapolis this afternoon. We'll keep an eye on him, too, but he's at least 100 yards back. Meanwhile, Arian Foster up the middle for his 15th rushing touchdown of the season.
There is an in-your-face drive by the Houston Texans. Wow. That was a mauling of the defense of Jacksonville. I mean, take a look at this. The offensive line of Houston is they're just blowing the guys in the white shirts all the way past the goal line. That's about as easy a run as you're going to see. And Foster has found the end zone with mucho frequency this year. Man, he has, what is that, his 15th rushing touchdown?
Yes. Neil Rackard for the extra point. And it's good. In just 2 minutes and 35 seconds, the Houston Texans go 90 yards in 6 plays to grab a 7-0 lead. That is what could be for the Jacksonville Jaguars today, clinching the AFC South with a win and an Indy loss. But not if they continue to play defense like that today.
After a drive like that, the phrase hosting a playoff game seems a long ways away. They better get it under control here ASAP.
Deji Karim is deep. Karim going to take this one on the run. Falls, picks himself up, and is down at about the 22 or 23 yard line. Quentin Demps in on the stop. With quarterback David Garrard out with a finger injury to his throwing hand, 4th-year quarterback Trent Edwards gets the call. He has thrown just 24 passes this season.
David Garrard did not make the trip. He's back at home in Jacksonville watching this game along with all of you. And that's an uncomfortable position for David Garrard, a real competitor.
In their last 4 games, Jacksonville has been outscored by the opposition 31-0 in the first quarter. This is Rashad Jennings. And he is stood up at the 25-yard line. In the middle of the Jacksonville offensive line, Brad Meester anchors. He is in his 11th year out of Northern Iowa. And the Jaguars minus an important offensive weapon in running back Maurice Jones-Drew. He's out with a knee injury. Rashad Jennings gets the start for him. And there is MJD.
And it's not every week that you're covering a game where a team is minus their starting quarterback and minus their leading rusher and inspirational leader in Maurice Jones-Drew. This is a tall order here for Jacksonville to overcome.
On 2nd and 8, this is Jennings. Jennings with first down yardage and then some. Out across the 35 to the 36-yard line. With Mario Williams gone for the remainder of this season, Antonio Smith leads the defensive charge for the Texans on the outside. Linebackers are minus Daryl Sharpton out with a shoulder injury. Zach Dial starts in his place. And Glover Quinn holds down one cornerback slot. He has 3 interceptions, all of them coming in Week 12 against Tennessee. That 3-1 game. A Texans record, and there is a man on the hot seat. Defensive coordinator Frank Bush.
Embattled would be a good word.
The pitch for Jennings. Right side to about the 41-yard line.
Yeah, Frank Bush, well, this defense is, they're racking up a lot of the numbers that you don't want to rack up. They're the dead last defense in the National Football League when it comes to defending the pass. They're giving up the historic numbers of points and games where they allow points. We'll get into it as the game goes along, but Mario Williams there on the sideline. Unfortunately, he's on injured reserve.
Play fake. Edwards. The short pass goes right by Mercedes Lewis, incomplete.
Now, the one thing about Trent Edwards replacing David Garrard is that Edwards is a mobile guy, and a lot of this offense of Jacksonville's is predicated upon the quarterback's movement, and movement is something that Trent Edwards is pretty capable of doing and comfortable doing, Greg.
We want to point out to our viewers that tremendous interest in what Indianapolis is doing. We will run the progress of that game at the bottom of the screen throughout, and an Adam Vinatieri 48-yard field goal has the Colts up early 3-0 at home against Tennessee. Under pressure, and Edwards goes down.
Well, Tim Jamison, number 99, he's going to be up there at the top of your screen, and he comes right on in there. He's one of the guys that gets there. He's actually second. Looks like Nolan was actually the first guy there on the safety blitz. That was a disintegrating pocket.
Adam Podlesh kicking it away to Jacoby Jones. From the 17. Across the 25 and out to about the 27, maybe the 28-yard line. Meanwhile, leading the league in rushing, number 23 and undrafted. How about that? Back at Reliant Stadium in Houston, where the roof is open on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Andre Johnson, the talented wide receiver for the Houston Texans, sitting this out. He will have ankle surgery this week. And this is Foster again. Foster adding to the mileage, to the outside and out of bounds, close to the 45-yard line.
All right, let's get this straight. Houston on their opening drive rushes the ball for 81 yards. Foster had 2 carries for nearly 60. Ward had 2 carries for over 10 yards a carry. You're looking for Jacksonville to make a stand here, make a statement that, all right, we were asleep on the first drive, and what happens? Right off the bat, they get gashed again.
And the second undrafted running back in NFL history, over 1,500 yards rushing. Looking for more. Forward progress will be marked at about the 45-yard line. Kirk Morrison, the middle linebacker, in for the stop. You and I were talking, Dan, just wondering what kind of conversations were going on the sideline between the defenders for the Jacksonville Jaguars and seeing if they righted this ship in a hurry.
Well, I'm assuming it involves some stern language, because that was moderately embarrassing to get pushed around like that on the first drive. Now, here we finally saw a run where Houston didn't have their way with them, but that was one play.
On the ground again, and Foster to about the 49, and the ball is down. It is ruled and not a fumble. Let's take a look.
Well, you can see the Jacksonville players going, hey, challenge this. They stand Foster up. Well, that ball certainly came out.
There's good reason to challenge.
Yeah, that ball came out before Arian Foster hit the ground. Now there's a question of whether or not they ruled his forward progress had stopped.
And he dropped the challenge flag. Dropped it on the far side of the field.
Well, there is no denying that the football came loose before Arian Foster was down on the ground.
There will be no challenge, as the ruling on the field was a forward progress.
Yep.
Therefore, not a challengeable play. Third down.
And Jeff Triplett is right. And I mentioned about the forward progress. If that's the ruling, the play ends. The whistles blow and the play ends.
Let's give a listen to the whistle.
But you can see what the officials see. You got 4 guys. His forward progress has stopped. He's being driven backwards.
Shaw from straight drop, throwing, got his man. That's wide receiver Kevin Walter, and Walter inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line.
Well, it's looked like single coverage that time for Walter, locked up on Rashean Mathis. You can see how Mathis isn't sitting in his zone. He's in a chase position, but a chase position all the way. He had to navigate through a little traffic. Schaub identifies him. Now, crossing patterns take time, and you saw that Schaub had lots of it in a pretty solid Texans pocket.
Derek Ward into the backfield. Play fake to him. Schaub with plenty of time. Now on the move. And throws to the sideline, and that is complete to Ward, and he's out of bounds at the 21-yard line. That'll be about 2 yards shy, maybe 3 yards shy of a first down.
Again, so far, now this game, we're just a little over halfway through the first quarter, but the line of scrimmage on both sides is being dominated by the guys on the Houston Texans. Their offensive line, their defensive line, they are controlling this game.
Ward on 2nd and 2, has a first down inside the 20, spinning to about the 16-yard line. Jack Del Rio probably wondering, where's the fight in my guys today?
Well, that's right. And this is the way that the Jaguars like to play. Very physical. Great kick-out block by Pro Bowl fullback Vontae Leach. And he's in there looking for somebody else. There's Vontae Leach, and boy, the Texans were very excited when he got a Pro Bowl nod this week.
And so was he.
Well, yeah.
He started the Send Leach to the Beach campaign. Screen for Owen Daniels, the tight end, inside the 10 to the 8-yard line.
Well, I'll say this about Vontae Leach. When the guy you're blocking for leads the league in rushing, he opens up the season with, 231 against the Colts, and you get a guy off to a start like that, hey, you deserve some props. It didn't happen just by Foster's hard running all by himself.
That's good for your resume.
Yeah, it's very good for your resume.
2nd and 2. The Texans knocking on the door again. Foster, right side, looking for the cutback. It's not there.
Ooh, and I'll tell you, Leach had a kickout block, and he was expecting Foster to cut in right off his rear end, and Foster didn't do it. Watch 44, the fullback. Watch this nice block, right, bang, right there. And he's expecting Foster to cut back to the inside, and Foster kept going to the sideline. That was hard for me to critique the NFL's leading rusher, but that wasn't a good move on his part.
For Mr. One Cut, that was his cut.
The cut was there, and he didn't take it.
3rd and 1. Foster stood up at the 8.
I don't think he got it.
Jeremy Mincey, number 94, stood tall. And Gary Kubiak is going to elect to kick the field goal.
The crowd boos. I'm not. That is, if it was 6 inches, you'd say a foot. Maybe we'll go for it the way my line's playing. But at 1.5 yards, closer to 2 yards, no thanks.
Well, from the fans' perspective, it's a what do we have to lose scenario.
Well, what you lose is you lose a drive where you don't get any points, and that's unfair to the player.
From 26 yards out. Records perfect. 4:15 to play. First quarter, 10-point lead for the Houston Texans. Hey, the biggest event of the new year begins with a single step. Join Paula Abdul for the premiere of Live to Dance Tuesday, only CBS. Well, in the biggest game of the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars until the Indianapolis Colts say otherwise, it has been all Houston. A touchdown and a field goal.
How about 154 yards of offense for Houston? 10 for Jacksonville in their lone possession.
Houston averaging 10 yards a play on offense. Deji Kareem, 3. 25, looking for running room, stumbles across the 30 and out to about the 32 or 33 yard line. We'll take a break with 4:09 to play in the first quarter. Jaguars on offense after this. Hey, you can build your own football dynasty and compete year-round with CBSSports.com franchise football. Find out more at CBSSports.com/franchise. As we mentioned earlier, we will keep the progress of the Indy-Tennessee game at the bottom of your screen. Rob Moronis has kicked the 26-yard field goal. The Titans and the Colts are tied at 3. This is Rashad Jennings. And Jennings with some footage, the mileage, and out to the 50-yard line.
Well, now there is a change of direction by Rashad Jennings. He is going to take off to the right, and then, okay, no one is at home on the backside for Houston defensively, and boy, does Jennings spot it in a hurry.
How about that stiff arm at the end of the play?
But talk about over pursuing. You can see Antonio Smith did not maintain containment. Nice visuals there by Rashad Jennings.
On first down, it's Jennings again, and Jennings right up the middle, inside the 40, and it's another first down. So very quickly, the Jaguars offense has snapped back to attention.
Well, and it's like all of a sudden Jacksonville has awakened. and decides, well, maybe it's time we start playing football. Outstanding blocking up on the line of scrimmage. Vince Manawai, the left guard, comes in and gets a good block. And you see right there, good job by Jordan Black coming down and stealing.
Now from the Texans 39. And coming across the line is Damian Lewis.
Well, he had company.
Encroachment, defense number 97. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So that'll advance the football for the Jaguars. You know, we asked Jack Del Rio if he does any scoreboard watching, and he says, well, he doesn't expect to get any help from the Houston folks today.
No. He figured that the scoreboard operator here isn't going to go out of their way to give Jacksonville anything that might be used as motivational.
1st and 5. This is Jennings. Stumbling forward to about the 32, where Troy Nolan makes the stop.
And you know, Rashad Jennings, as we look at him there, you know, he's getting an opportunity here with Maurice Jones-Drew not able to play to really kind of make a statement that, you know, can he be the guy that you can count on to, you know, to get 25 carries a game. He's been more of a complimentary back, and this is a chance for him to send some tape out that every team in the league is going to see. And you know, can I be the man? Because that guy we just saw is the man.
This is Jennings, running room, inside the 25 to the 24, and another Jacksonville first down.
Well, this has just been an awakening here by the Jacksonville offense. Again, look at the tremendous blocking. Brad Meester out there on Cushing. Look how he locks him up and runs him downfield. And by the time the Texans were able to do anything to Jennings, he's got a lot of good yardage.
Now, what's unusual about this, if there is a bright spot on this Texans defense, it's their rush defense, where they're 9th best in the league. Deji Kareem in the backfield. Eludes one tackle. And inside the 20 to the 19.
Now, Greg, that's one of those things where stats, one of the reasons they're so good against the run.
Because everybody's throwing against
Everybody's throwing against them because they're the worst team in the league against the pass. But you can't take it away from them. It's an accurate figure. But yes, they have really struggled to defend the pass.
Deji Kareem and Greg Jones in the backfield. There's been only one pass attempt made by Trent Edwards so far. 2nd and 5. The pitch for Kareem. 15 to the 12 as we slip inside 1 minute to play for the first quarter.
A couple different times now that Jacksonville is working their offensive left against the right side of the Texans defense and finding some pretty big holes over there.
So Jacksonville will run at least one more play before the quarter expires. All 6 plays on the ground on this drive. Making another ground play. Jennings to the 5 and knocked out of bounds.
Boy, and there they go to the left again, Greg. They have really found a soft spot.
You okay?
Bentley a little slow getting up, and his left arm kind of dangling a little bit. But again, Cushing, he's got 2 guys on him and a soft corner over there. This has been something that the Jaguars are really exploiting, getting around the left side.
We come to the end of one here in Houston. Jacksonville still alive for the postseason, trying to do something here in the red zone. It's 10-0 Houston. Back after these messages. This is the NFL on CBS. Back for the start of the second quarter. Did you say Rashad Jennings has been running to his left?
Yes, he has, and as you can see there by looking at that graphic, with much success. Up to 9 yards a carry. That's pretty darn good.
Young man told us last night there's no such thing as a backup on the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's next man up. And with Maurice Jones-Drew down with a knee injury, that's Rashad Jennings, number 23. 2nd and 1. Jennings with blocking to the end zone for the touchdown. Rashad Jennings with his 4th rushing touchdown of this season.
Well, that was a pretty darn good answer to a bad beginning by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coming back with a physical drive like that. Just pounding it away on the ground, almost putting up a sign saying, we're not even going to attempt to throw a pass. Let's see if you can get physical with us.
28 offensive plays in this game, 21 on the ground.
Nice counter punch by Jacksonville.
The extra point is good. An 8-play drive. It all happened on the ground, and Jacksonville jumps right back into this game. It's 10-7 Houston. Here's Jacksonville's next man up, Rashad Jennings. His 3-yard touchdown run caps a 50-yard drive. Or he carried 6 times for 50 yards on the drive, excuse me.
A lot of production from a free agent running back on one side and a 7th rounder on the other.
Slayton from the 5. Steve Slayton out to the 25-yard line. And that's where the Texans will go on offense. Thought the fantasy season was over. It's not. Play NFL.com playoff challenge today. You can win a trip to Super Bowl 46 in Indianapolis. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy or search NFL Playoff Challenge.
Guess the Colts have gone up 6-3 over Tennessee. A game of a great deal of interest here to the folks from Jacksonville.
Adam Vinatieri, 44-yard field goal. The difference there right now. Shaw got his man across the 40, out to the 45, and out of bounds at midfield is Owen Daniels. A very talented tight end who was missing to this offense for part of the season.
Yeah, he missed 5 games this year because of a hamstring, and remember he was on IR last year with a knee. So this offense is so much better when Owen Daniels is healthy and able to do just like this. Look at those soft hands. And again, a reminder that this is a Texans offense that's having to throw the football with Andre Johnson standing on the sidelines with a bad ankle.
This is Foster. Foster inside the 40 to the 38.
Well, you know, Arian Foster is a tall running back. He's 6'1", 225, 227, right in that ballpark. But he's got good quickness. You know, it's kind of vogue now. Running backs are shorter, a little more powerful, lower to the ground, choppier steps. He's more of a long strider, but he's got excellent instincts.
On 2nd and short yardage, it's going to be Foster again, and he's got the first down. You mentioned last night, Dan, how very much he physically resembles Rashad Jennings.
Well, they're both listed at 6'1". Foster's listed at 227 and Jennings is listed at 228. And again, the similarities, you know, Arian Foster, an undrafted rookie, and Rashad Jennings, a 7th round draft choice, which is real close to being undrafted. The difference is Foster came out of a real football school in Tennessee and Jennings came out of Liberty.
On first down, Derek Ward is in the backfield. Play fake. Shaw with all kinds of time, going down the middle and overthrows his intended receiver, Kevin Walter.
Well, because of the double team by Jacksonville, Shaw knew that he had to throw a perfect pass. Mathis and Green were both right there. A perfect pass would have resulted in a touchdown, but anything just a little bit underthrown would have been picked off.
That looked a lot like a Ben Roethlisberger to Mike Wallace touchdown pass earlier today, didn't it?
Yes, it did, but where Schaub was smart, if you're going to make a mistake with the throw, you've got to make it on an overthrow, not an underthrow.
This is Ward on 2nd down, and he has running room. He could go. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown.
Let's see. Great blocking one more time. Take a look at some of the work being done. You know, you've got Dreesen coming up through the hole. He doesn't even see anybody to hit. And Derek Ward, look how close this is. His foot hits the pylon, but even though he's got the football in his left hand, the official rules that he broke the plane with the football. The foot being in the end zone isn't enough. The foot being in the end zone isn't enough. The football's got to break the plane.
The way this team is running the ball, it might be a little senseless to challenge a ball that might end up on the 1-yard line anyway. The kick is good.
Yeah, it's not that if, you know, Jack Del Rio was successful, you're right. It would be a touchdown. They'd spot the ball at about the inside the 1-yard line, maybe the 6-inch line.
Answering touchdown has the Texans stretching their lead. Number 32, Derek Ward, with his 4th rushing touchdown of the season, has made it a 17-7 Houston lead, 12:53 to play here in the first half. Deji Kareem set to return for the Jaguars. Kareem from the 2. Squeezes through at the 20 and bursts out across the 30 or down at about the 30-yard line. A timeout, and we'll talk live with David Garrard of the Jaguars when we come back. Back in Houston, the Indianapolis Colts continue to lead Tennessee 6-3 while Jacksonville trails by 10. A guy it's really killing not to be here is back home in Jacksonville, quarterback David Garrard. David, thank you for joining us, and as we watch Trent Edwards go to work on offense here, tell us how the surgery went on your finger this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. The surgery went great. Doctor said it was better than he expected to go, so my fingers got a nice little pin in it, keeping it nice and straight so that it can be you know, back to full strength as soon as it comes out of this cast.
Dave, we just saw Trent Edwards complete a pass to Jason Hill, and after running it exclusively on the last drive, nice completion there. Are you up to speed on the game plan? Were you in on any meetings?
I was in there early in the week, but then I had to have surgery, and later on in the week I wasn't there as much. So I know Trent is, you know, ready for the game. I know Dirk is going to call a great game. And we've got the run, you know, going pretty good. So we got to keep feeding the ball to Rashad and let Trent take some shots.
You know, we've been talking about Rashad, and when you don't have Maurice Jones-Drew, Rashad seems to be a pretty nice fallback option.
Yeah, you know, when we first got him a couple years ago, we thought, man, this is a powerful kid here with good speed, and he showed you against the Oakland Raiders that he can really turn it on and you know, have a nice long run. So he's a strong kid, and you know, he really runs behind the shoulder pads. If we can just continue to feed him and the O-line can stay on their blocks, finish downfield, then we can make it a really good game.
David, I know that this has been a frustrating end to a football season. We were with you a couple weeks ago in Indianapolis when you had a chance by beating the Colts where you would have won the division and put it to bed back then. This is awkward and hard leaving it to where you need help from someone else, isn't it?
It is. You know, just sitting here at home watching the games, it feels really weird. You know, I love being here with my wife and my son, but, you know, I'd much rather be out there on the field battling out with those guys. That's what we put all the blood, sweat, and tears in all year for, to come down to this point, to give ourselves a chance. And we have that chance, and, you know, but I have to rely on Trent and those guys to get it done. But, you know, I'm still here pulling for them and cheering as loud as I can so they can get it done.
Well, it looks like a 4th down upcoming for Jack Del Rio. We just want to thank you very much for taking the time, David. You mend well and come back strong next season, okay?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you always having me on, and good, Happy New Year to you guys.
Thank you. Same to you.
Same to you. Thank you, David.
David Garrard, the injured quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Meanwhile, his team on the field going to go for it here on 4th and 1 at the 45 of the Houston Texans. Rashad Jennings, Greg Jones in the backfield, and Edwards keeps it and dives and appears to be right at that 1st down marker. It'll depend on the spot.
Well, and it was less than a yard if you look at the sticks, more like about 2 feet. And again, this is just really dependent on a spot. There's indecision out there on both sides. I don't think either team is feeling all that confident one way or the other. You see Glover Quinn there close to us where he is signaling the other way.
But he's not going to signal the opposite way either. Funny thing about players doing that.
Yes, it's.
Ooh. Is it?
No, I don't know.
It is. Jeff Triplett said it is.
Well, that is by about one link on that chain being stretched out. Trent Edwards goes off left guard, and boy, there wasn't a lot of movement. There wasn't the kind of shove that he was hoping for. And seriously, that was by about a 16th of an inch.
This is Jennings, and Jennings to the 40. Now, in addition to missing David Garrard's leadership, they miss a terrific running quarterback in Garrard on the field.
Well, and Jack Del Rio said, he's told us on numerous times, sometimes having David Garrard out there is like having a fullback at the quarterback position. David is such a powerful guy. They run the option. I mean, they will run a true option, just come down the line of scrimmage. And even, that's reflective of the fact that David Garrard isn't playing. But that's also credit the offensive line. They're running the football like that because they're being successful.
On the end around, Mike Thomas with running room. Inside the 30, inside the 25. It's a first down for Jacksonville. And we get an update from the NFL Today in New York from James Brown. JB.
Greg, back-to-back turnovers in the New York Giants-Washington game. Eli Manning threw his 25th pick, but Washington turns it over. Strip sack, O.C. Umenyiora. Loose ball recovered by the Giants. 3-0 Giants. Giants clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Packers loss. It's scoreless between the Packers and the Bears. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Deardorff.
That's almost beyond belief. 25 interceptions by Eli Manning. That's amazing. The Giants have been able to overcome that.
Rashad Jennings to the 21, where Kevin Bentley makes the stop.
Well, David Garrard, he had surgery on the middle finger on his throwing hand, and Greggy told us, and what about you can't even hold on to the football and control it. That's for a quarterback that seals the deal. Garrard has played through lots of injuries in the past, but if you can't even hold on to the football and grip it, you got no chance.
As you can see at the bottom of your screen, Tennessee has tied the Colts at 6. Quick pass to the outside is overthrown by Edwards, intended for Mike Thomas. Meanwhile, on his Twitter page, Mr. Garrard put this up.
Yeah, that's a sling. You can see how they've totally immobilized his wrist and hand.
That appears to be a sling in front of a swing.
Yes. That was nice of David to do that for his fans.
3rd and 8.
And for those of us at CBS as well, we appreciate it.
Edwards going to throw for the end zone. It is just overthrown, intended for Mike Thomas. And Edwards has a gripe with Jeff Triplett. A gripe that he apparently isn't going to win.
No, he's not. Have you ever noticed how you go up to an official, how seldom a flag gets dropped late?
They don't welcome you with open arms when you're walking toward them.
Talk about falling on deaf ears. That's a classic case there.
So here's the Jacksonville field goal unit. Josh Scobie will try this one from 39 yards out. Well within his range. Important for the Jaguars not to waste scoring opportunities. And this is good. 8 minutes and 40 seconds to play here in the first half. Jaguars now trail by 7. 8 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the first half. Jacksonville still chasing the AFC South title.
I would have never thought of the dice. You know, when I was putting together my outfit for today, I just would have never thought what that guy knows how to accessorize.
I'm betting you didn't even pack the dice. Steve Slaton from the 7 to the 25. and across the 32, about the 33-yard line. These teams put up some points on the board back in Week 10, and this is how it ended. David Garrard's Hail Mary pass batted down by Glover Quinn right into the hands of Mike Thomas as time expired, and the Jaguars won it by a score of 31-24. Now, David Garrard is sitting back there at home thinking we played that just for him.
Yeah, he is thinking that. But again, take a look at this series, how close it's been over the years. I'm not sure the Texans have ever quite recovered from that.
Matt Schaub out into the flat to Foster. A very good pass receiver.
Again, you can see that how close they are. 17 meetings all time. The Jags have a 1-win advantage, but look how close they are. Points scored, turnovers, things like that. And it's really a pretty long list of statistics that are relatively close. And they're two teams that are similar in a lot of different ways. Not overly explosive.
This is Foster. Well, as we mentioned, Foster can do it on the ground and through the air. He's approaching 600 receiving yards on the season.
Well, he came into this game with 360 touches. That's 296 rushing attempts, 64 receptions. Again, for an undrafted free agent, they are getting a lot of mileage out of Arian Foster.
And a well-deserved Pro Bowl nod, too. 10 carries for 96 yards on the day. And he's going to lose yardage here, courtesy of Darryl Smith.
Well, he's got Wade Smith, the left guard, again kicking to the outside. And at first blush, it looks like this is supposed to turn up inside. But what an outstanding piece of work by Darryl Smith, taking the upfield shoulder. He's got containment here. You can't allow it to get outside of you. And when Foster tried to get outside, it was perfectly played by Darryl Smith. He's been having a fine year for Jacksonville.
42-year-old Matt Turk set to kick it away for Houston. Mike Thomas. Eludes 2 tackles, but not the third, and he's down at about the 25-yard line. And we have a penalty marker in the middle of the field.
This flag's about 20 or 25 yards away from Mike Thomas.
There is no foul for blocking in the back by the kicking team since the push occurred during the return. That is not a foul.
With that, we take a break with 6.5 minutes to play in the first half. As you look at the two head coaches here today, both have been mentioned often as the coaching carousel continues to spin in the National Football League.
Well, two guys that have been in the driver's seat of their respective teams for a long time. Gary Kubiak, 5 years here in Houston, and Jack Del Rio, 8 years in Jacksonville.
This is Deji Kareem to about the 29, excuse me.
And Greg's right. A lot of speculation as to the future of both of these guys. I think it's safe to say that neither one of these teams has accomplished what they thought they were going to do at the beginning of the season. A lot of optimism here in Houston. They were 7-9 last year, and then of course they open up with a nice win over the Colts. They actually took it to the Colts, and then they ended up being 4-2. And since that time, it has been a disaster.
And Woods gives to Kareem, and Kareem, the 35, and out to the 39. You know, you mentioned that they haven't lived up to what they expected to do, and I wonder, that differs sometimes from what the general perception of a team is once the season gets underway.
Right, but you're right, but I think the optimism, and the optimism extended not just from the fan base, but all the way through the roster. And they were remember, they got off to a 3-1 start, and Brian Cushing was still on a suspension, and what a fine start to a season they had. And then, you know, when D'Amico Ryans went down at middle linebacker, they never recovered from that.
The pitch for Kareem, trying to turn the corner, and he does. across midfield and into Houston territory at about the 49-yard line.
You know, it might be, you know, for Houston, it might be oversimplifying it, but Greg, and it is a team game, but they really did not. They never looked like the same defensive football team when they lost the quarterback of their defense, D'Amico Ryans. Gary Kubiak doesn't want to make it an excuse, but the reality is that some wind went out of the sails of this Houston football team when they lost their leader.
Meanwhile, Rashad Jennings looking for running room as penalty markers fly in the backfield. There is little or no gain as the stop is made by Brian Cushing.
Eagle use the hands to the face. 97 in the defense. That 5-yard penalty is added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's Damian Lewis guilty again. Meanwhile, this is how much the Texans are missing D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, and those are numbers, and they're good ones, and they're awards. But what you can't see there is emotionally what he meant to this football team. Sure, the skill is there, the leadership is there, but he is the leader in every sense of the way for the defense.
Here's Jennings, left side, cuts inside of a block and makes it to the 40. That was D'Amico Ryans that you saw on the sideline with the hooded sweatshirt. There he is.
And again, you know, this is a team game, and his absence doesn't excuse a lot of the shortcomings that this defense has had. Their young corners haven't played as well that Gary hoped at the beginning of the season when he decided to go with them. There have been other problems. There have been many other problems, but that's certainly the biggest one.
On 2nd and 6, Edwards throwing and overthrows, and penalty markers fly. Mercedes Lewis, the intended receiver.
Well, and Troy Nolan decided not to play the football, and that never works.
Mercedes Lewis also named to the Pro Bowl this week.
And deservedly so.
Pass interference, defense number 33, automatic first down.
You are just inviting the flag if you do not turn your back and see what's going on. Now, great look at them getting off the ball, but he has no idea where the football is. He just has his helmet in Mercedes Lewis's chest and bumping and running. You can't get away with that.
If the ball had not been thrown, that would have gone down as a bad-looking attempt at a tackle.
Yeah, you're right.
This is Deji Kareem, and Kareem to the 15-yard line. Meanwhile, an update on what's happening in Indianapolis. Here is JB in New York. James.
Hey, Greg, Indy looking to take care of business itself to clinch the AFC South. Peyton Manning hooking up with Reggie Wayne, 7-yard strike. It is now 13-6, Indy on top of Tennessee. That in the second. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Dierdorf.
All right, JB, so a win by the Colts will lock up the AFC South for Indianapolis, but if they should stumble the remainder of that game and Jacksonville should win, it would be the Jaguars going to the postseason. 2nd and 3. This is Kareem, running room to the 10, to the 7, and it'll be 1st and goal. Jacksonville looking to fill out that playoff picture.
And we've been talking about this. They put themselves in a position where they need help from Tennessee, and they've got to take care of their own business here. If they don't win this game, it doesn't matter what happens over in Indianapolis. But the chance to win the division, host a playoff game, still a possibility for Jack Del Rio's football team.
Jack Del Rio is going to see the clock hit 2 minutes to play here in the first half before he runs another play.
This is
so 2 minutes to play here in Houston. It's 17-10. Jacksonville knocking on the door. We'll be right back. Hey, the guys don't have much to do at halftime in New York, do they? Just recap the whole playoff picture.
That's easy.
The Sprint Halftime Report, JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher will have latest NFL scores, highlights, playoff scenarios, and baking recipes, you name it.
Greg, I'm trying to remember the last time I've seen a half where both teams have run the football this well.
Edwards going to throw. Got his man inside the 5. Mercedes Lewis to the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, talk about your running game, setting up some play action. When you had a grand total of 8 yards passing prior to that pass right there, yes, when you go back to throw, it is going to take the defense by surprise. And you can see totally a commitment to the run there by the Texans. And Xavier Adibi, the linebacker who had responsibilities to cover Lewis, about 2 to 3 yards behind him.
Mercedes Lewis with his 10th touchdown receiving on the season. That ties the Jacksonville record for receiving touchdowns in a season, held by Reggie Williams.
And thus the Pro Bowl nod.
And the extra point is good. 1:54 to play in the first half. Trent Edwards to Mercedes Lewis for the touchdown, and we're tied at 17. There's the scoring drive, 8 plays, 74 yards. Mercedes Lewis on the receiving end of his 10th touchdown pass of the season.
You know, you got to give a pat on the back to Jacksonville, Greg. After being down 10-0 and looking like they were getting run out of the stadium, they have found themselves, righted the proverbial ship, and have got themselves right back in this thing.
You see at the bottom of your screen, Indianapolis leading the Tennessee Titans. Steve Slayton from the 10. Spinning across the 25 and out to about the 27 or 28 yard line. Hey, here's a reminder for you. Ring in the new year with a new episode of TV's #1 new drama, Hawaii Five-0, on an all-new Monday right here on CBS.
I know it doesn't apply down here in Texas, but people in the Midwest and the East, there's something about snow on the ground and you're looking at a show set in Hawaii. There's something very comforting about it. It makes you know someone's enjoying some nice weather somewhere. Not necessarily where you are. That's right.
Matt Schaub on first down. With protection, throws complete to the near side of the field across the 35 and out of bounds at the 37 is Joel Dreesen, the 5th-year tight end out of Colorado State. Both teams with all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Well, again, Schaub finds one of his receivers on a crossing pattern. He's been having a lot of luck with that here in this first half.
Andre Johnson
without that guy.
Foster came close to breaking through. He's to the 45.
I know that one of the Texans' concerns was how effectively were they going to be able to run the football without Andre Johnson on the field, because he always kept a safety over the top, and you couldn't drop that extra safety down into the box.
Schaub throwing near sideline, and that one is complete to Jacoby Jones, and Jones fights his way out of bounds at the 48.
Now Schaub saying, let's huddle up. The clock is stopped by going out of bounds. But again, you don't think of it, very often when you think about the impact of a receiver like an Andre Johnson, what he has on your running game.
Arguably the best receiver in the National Football League.
And his mere presence over there dictates that there's always a deep safety. And when that's the case, it makes it very hard to drop that 8th guy down into the box and defend the run.
2nd and 3, short drop for Schaub this time, and the quick pass inside the 40 to the 38 to Jones. And Houston will use a timeout here, stop the clock with 1:09 to play in the half. .69 seconds, all that remains in a first half that has seen more ground game than we're used to seeing in an NFL game, Dan.
No, I can't remember the last time I saw both teams over 150 yards at halftime. But right now, this drive, this is about Matt Schaub and the formidable Houston passing game.
Schaub. Short pass, complete to Jones. To the 21. Clock continues to move, under a minute to play. And a timeout now stops the clock. We'll be back to Reliance Stadium in just a moment. back in Houston. If you've been following the progress of the Colts and the Titans at the bottom of your screen, they have gone to halftime. The Colts lead at 13-6. Again, a Colt victory secures the AFC South and a 9th straight postseason berth for Indianapolis. Foster tripped up, and just across the 20-yard line, Courtney Green, a questionable starter today, made the stop.
Boy, when you got a safety blitz like that, oh, there's such a chance for a huge play. But Green did not go past the ball carrier. Really smart play on his part.
On 2nd and 8, Shaw rolling, throwing down the sideline, and it is incomplete and out of bounds.
Way out of bounds.
Jacoby Jones, the receiver.
You can see this ball is so far out of bounds that Jacoby Jones, if he was 12 feet tall, I'm not sure would have been able to catch that and stay in bounds. Yeah, Matt knew it the minute he let it go. He knew that ball was gone.
Houston with 1 timeout remaining, 28 seconds on the clock. 3rd and 8. Foster out in the pass pattern. Schaub pulls it down, looking, throws right into the middle of the field to Jacoby Jones, and he's down at the 15-yard line, and they will let the clock wind down for a field goal with about a couple of seconds to play.
Houston has only 1 timeout left, so they're not going to leave Jacksonville any time after the field goal attempt.
So with 4 seconds to play, Houston uses its 3rd and final timeout.
Boy, when you said Jacoby Jones was down, you know, there's down and then there is down. I think Sean Considine, he planted one on Jacoby Jones, and he did a good job holding on to the football.
So Matt Schaub does his job on that last drive.
Very efficient, good use of the clock, and credit Jacksonville that time. They only rushed 3 guys, dropped 8, and they wouldn't let Schaub couldn't find anybody open in the end zone.
So Neil Rackers, who has been good from 26 yards, will boot this one from 33 yards out. On the way, and just barely inside the upright. As time expires here in the first half. That is the end of the first half with the score. Houston 20, Jacksonville 17. Back with the Spread Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. Jennings with blocking to the end zone for the touchdown. This is Ward on 2nd down. He has running room. He could go. Welcome back to Reliant Stadium in Houston, where the Houston Texans hold a 3-point lead over Jacksonville at halftime, 20-17. Let's take a look at the Droid Pro Play presented by Motorola.
Well, Jacksonville had done such a good job of running the football. You see the play action fake, sets it all up. Mercedes Lewis just totally wide open. But that was a team effort on the part of Jacksonville. When you run the ball that effectively, if it wouldn't have been open on play action, I'd have to say Houston was the greatest defensive team.
Welcome back to Houston, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. Happy New Year to you and yours from all of us. I don't know who you credit more in that first half. A Houston team that really has nothing to play for as far as the postseason is concerned, or a Jacksonville team that's playing without 2 of its big offensive stars.
Yeah, I can't recall the last time I saw a team come into a game like this without their starting quarterback, without their leading rusher in Maurice Jones-Drew, and then it looked like they were lifeless. They were getting pushed around by the Texans. They fell behind 10-0, and you're on the verge of saying, well, wow, Jacksonville's on the verge of laying a huge egg. And then they fought their way right back into this football game, and you got to give them a lot of credit. And here, again, no, I love seeing the last week of the season like this, a Houston football team that has nothing to play for but the old proverbial pride, but they're playing hard.
Jacksonville gets its hands on the ball first. Deji Kareem from inside the 5-yard line. And a good running back here to the outside and out of bounds close to the 35-yard line. So that means Trent Edwards back on offense.
And I really meant that, Greg, when I talk about, complimenting Houston for playing hard. And it's one of the things you really admire about athletes in this situation, when you don't have that carrot dangling out in front of you, that you can still muster. Look with Tennessee. Look how well they're playing Indianapolis, and we know how hard it is to win in that building in Indy.
First down. And the give is to Rashad Jennings. And Jennings lunging forward to about 31. He'll lose 2 on the play.
Well, we were talking about we couldn't remember the last time we saw quite a running display like we saw in the first half. Well, that tells us why. You just don't see it very often. Got to go all the way back to 95. And who's one of the teams involved there? The Jacksonville Jaguars against the Seahawks.
Shades of Freddie Taylor, you think? 2nd and 12. Short drop on the slant is incomplete. Mike Thomas, the nearest receiver.
Now, Mike Thomas didn't even seem to be aware that he might be an eligible receiver on that pattern. He looked like, I don't know what he was doing or what he was thinking, but being a part of that play wasn't part of it.
So Edwards looking at a 3rd and 12. And if he doesn't convert, it's a quick 3 and out for the Jacksonville offense to start the second half.
This was one of the few 3rd and longs we've seen in this game by anybody.
Edwards rolls and looks, and he's going to keep it. 40. And slammed down at about the 45-yard line, but enough for a first down.
Well, we talked early that even though he's subbing for David Garrard, Trent Edwards is not afraid to take off with it. He's mobile in the pocket, but right here he makes up his mind that he's going to go for it. And there's no hook slide here, and he takes a really good shot by Glover Quinn. He's going to come in from the left right there, and he puts a shoulder right on the hip and the lower ribs on the left-hand side of Trent Edwards.
He needed 12. He got 13. It's a first down. Play fake to Jennings. Sideline pass and incomplete. Intended for Jason Hill. It'll be 2nd and 10. I thought one of the funnier things we heard yesterday, Dan, one of the amazing things that you really don't think about it until someone mentions it. Rashad Jennings and Maurice Jones-Drew are different stature, let's say, and Rashad Jennings found himself getting the handoff a little too low.
It was pretty fun. He said I'd get the handoff from David Garrard and it would hit me in the thigh pads, and I said I had to keep going. But I was a rookie, I couldn't say anything, but I kept going to David. David, I'm a little taller than the last guy.
This is Jennings, and tripped up from behind by Xavier Adibi.
Well, you stop and think about it. You've got to get down there, especially you want your running backs to have a little body lean, and we all talk about running behind their pads and whatnot. Well, you got to get it down there to give it to Maurice Jones-Drew. You're stretching down there. All of a sudden, you got a 6'1" back in there, and if you don't remember who's in, how about that? Everybody's in on the party.
That would include the quarterback. 3rd and 8. Edwards throwing left side, got his man, and right at the first down marker is Jason Hill.
Well, this is going to be, Kareem Jackson was right there and made a good tackle, and this is going to be a very interesting spot. The very talented rookie right there, Kareem Jackson, but he gets, he recovers, and then he really does take Hill out of bounds. It doesn't give him 6 inches after he made the catch.
It is 4th and inches. Rashad Jennings in the backfield with Greg Jones.
They did a quarterback sneak the last time they needed short yardage.
This time it's Jennings, first down yardage. Across the 45 to the 43.
Well, that's good job of exploding off the right-hand side there by Jacksonville. Again, a playoff possibility is alive for the Jaguars. They must beat the Texans here today, and they must have Indianapolis lose That way they get in as the AFC South Division champions.
And word we get from Indianapolis is that the Titans just scored, and Indianapolis's lead is down to 13-12 with an extra point pending. Edwards rolling, looking, going to keep it, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And with the extra point at Indianapolis, Tennessee has pulled even with the Colts now at 13.
And Greg, I'm one of those guys that didn't give Tennessee much of any chance at all of being able to go in and play the Colts like this in a game where the Colts just needed so much at home. They're such a different team at home.
You look at Jack Del Rio, the smile on his face. Do you think he knows?
He might have just heard about it. He might have just heard about it.
2nd and 9. It does him no good if Indianapolis falls, if his team loses here. This is Jennings trying to spin out of trouble. Penalty marker is down. He's still on his feet and now down just inside the 40-yard line. Let's check the flag.
Boy, that's tough running by Jennings.
Holding, 78 offense, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
That's the right tackle, Jordan Black.
Well, Brian Cushing, the linebacker, really crashed in there. He might have drawn that hold on Black. But that was great effort on the part of Rashad Jennings.
So this will put a dent.
This has been a clean game. There haven't been a lot of penalties in this game. There have been no turnovers.
Jacksonville with 175 rushing yards so far today. 2nd and 19.
Last time I checked, Maurice Jones-Drew isn't playing. All the more impressive.
And we get whistles before the snap and a timeout call.
Timeout.
Play clock was winding down.
Jacksonville.
So we'll take a break with 10:14 to play in the 3rd quarter. As we welcome you back on this 2nd day of January. 2nd and 19 for Jacksonville from their own 49, and Trent Edwards needs the 32-yard line of the Houston Texans. Edwards throws far side, complete to Mike Thomas, and Thomas down just inside the 40-yard line. Let's get an update on that Tennessee-Indy game. James Brown in New York. JB.
Hey, Greg and Dan. Tennessee not rolling over against Indy. Take a look here as Tennessee ties it up when Kerry Collins hooks up with Kenny Britt. 21-yard strike. All knotted at 13. That in the 3rd. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Deardorff.
Thank you, JB. I don't think you're ever going to see a Jeff Fisher team roll over. 3rd and 7. Pass is incomplete. Shaw, or rather Trent Edwards, under the gun.
Yeah, getting buried is what he was doing. And boy, he saw it coming all the way. Brian Cushing, Anderson, they're both in there on it. Here comes Cushing, and boy, it's just no way that Edwards was able to step into it. You could see that Vince Manawai just a little late coming over in an attempt to pick up Cushing. You can't even be sure that Cushing was his guy, but that's a free run into QB.
So Adam Podlesh will kick. Jacoby Jones is deep. They'll try to nail this one inside the 10-yard line, and will. Making the play is Kasim Osgood, a special teamer extraordinaire. And Houston will start deep in its own territory when we come back. .9:16 to play in the 3rd quarter. This is how the battle for the rushing title is going, and Chris Johnson held to 4 yards rushing so far today in Indianapolis. Arian Foster 1 yard shy of 100 on the day.
And Charles played earlier today, so Arian Foster is going to be the NFL's leading rusher 2010.
Shaw throwing. That's complete. Owen Daniels. And Daniels brought down. An update from Indianapolis. James Brown, what's happening?
Hey, Greg, Indy doing its best to wrap up the AFC South, breaking the tie with Tennessee when Peyton Manning goes up top 30-yard, dropping it in the basket to Pierre Garçon. They retake the lead. Indy does 20-13. That in the third. Greg Gumbel, Dan Dierdorf.
Imagine Indianapolis throwing the football like that. The wonders never cease.
On first down, this is Foster, and Foster cut down at about the 20-yard line by Courtney Green.
Foster's a perfect back for this zone blocking scheme that the Texans use. Starts with double teams up front, and then it's really a one-cut offense for the back. You start one direction and come back. We saw Foster that time. This time it's Derek Ward. You see the double teams, the seals, and then it's the back just makes the one basic cut when he sees the crease, takes advantage of it. Offensive line of the Houston Texans have been having a really good day.
Foster 101 yards rushing on the day, and adding to it his 8th 100-yard rushing game of the season. An update on the Giants and the Redskins from New York. James.
Greg and Dan, a little brother Eli wants to get the job done here for the Giants as he goes and connects with Mario Manningham, connecting on the longest pass play in New York in 39 years, 92 yards worth. Giants on top by 10. Giants clinch a playoff spot with a win and a Packers loss. Packers right now still trailing by 3. Back to Greg and Dan.
All right, James, thank you. Meanwhile, Matt Schaub, straight drop, on the move, throws, complete, across the 35, across the 40. Jacoby Jones still on his feet into Jacksonville territory and out of bounds at the 44.
Well, Jacoby Jones getting a chance to really show his skills without Andre Johnson on the field. He's going to be a free agent after this season, and yards after the catch. This is where Jacoby Jones can really make it happen. He is a tremendous open field runner, great speed, and yes, a bit of a showman as well, but he's got a skill set that's pretty darn good.
5 catches for 70 yards today. Schaub over the middle, got his man. Kevin Walter to the 20. And another first down for the Texans.
Well, you know, talking to Gary Kubiak, he was so proud of the way his team was preparing at 5 and 10, the way they were paying attention in practice, the way they were working hard. And he told me, he said, I'd be stunned if we didn't come out and play with great effort and enthusiasm. And you have to admit, they are doing that here today.
How about Matt Schaub? 9,000 plus passing yards over 2 seasons. Only the 6th player in NFL history to do that. On first down. On the keeper, Schaub goes incomplete, and we get a penalty mark.
Well, that's going to be holding on Allen. He just tackled Owen Daniels. Boy, Schaub was surprised to have a defender right in his face, and he was basically just throwing the ball away. Mincy was all over it.
Pretty good fake by Schaub, too.
Prior to the pass, holding 50 in the defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And really on a ball that was never going to be completed. There's Daniels, number 81. Now he's going to reverse his course, and you can see he just basically is getting tackled by Russell Allen. But this surprised Matt Schaub with Mincy right there in his chops. And that ball bounced about 3 yards in front of Owen Daniels. But they got the penalty nonetheless.
Now Matt Schaub has already engineered a 90-yard touchdown drive today. This one started at his own 3. Screen for Daniels. Daniels inside the 10 to the 8.
Well, this is, you know, when you can run the football like both of these teams are doing today, and you've got a passing game to go with it, boy, it sets everything up. And that's just a beautiful fake by Daniels. He's a blocker first, and then he comes loose and sets up the screen. That was well designed and nicely executed. Timing on a screen is everything.
Schaub 15 out of 18 for 201 yards. Foster to the 5.
You know, talking to Jacksonville, they're going, what we can't do is just run down the line of scrimmage locked up with the offensive line of the Texans. Somebody's got to get upfield. But this is a perfect example. Watch them all running parallel. Nobody's upfield, and then Foster is able to make a dramatic cut and work his way upfield. That's exactly what the offensive line wants you to do. Just run with them, and they'll run you right out of the play.
First and goal from the 5. Foster. No gain. Nice play by Russell Allen. There have been several groups in town here calling for the dismissal of Gary Kubiak, but there is no question that this team is firmly behind its head coach.
Well, they talked about playing hard for him. They talked about how much they want Gary to stay. He's finishing up his 5th year. A lot of talk about the changes on the defensive side of the football. Wade Phillips' name has surfaced as a possible defensive coordinator.
Schaub throwing in with.
I'm telling you, Rasheed Mathis, he's looking for a flag. Rasheed Mathis turned around. I think he expected to see a flag on the ground. There's 27 Mathis. Watch him now. Walter's going to make his break to the outside. He's got the right there at the end when he stumbled into him. Boy, he had a hand on. If we'd have seen that jersey come back a little bit or a yank, that would have drawn a flag for sure. Even as is, I think Mathis was fortunate.
Third and goal. Schaub with time. Throwing. End zone touchdown. Owen Daniels.
Wow, that drive had everything. They had wonderful balance. There's Daniels. Look at the change of direction. Driving on the outside shoulder of Darryl Smith and then abruptly changing direction, sensing a void back in the middle, which there was. Schaub patiently waited for him to come open.
They go 97 yards in 10 plays.
And it just had a little bit of everything. Solid running, screens, downfield passing.
Racker's kick is good. 3:47 to play in the 3rd quarter. The Houston Texans extend their lead over Jacksonville to 10. It's 27-17. Number 81, Owen Daniels, on the receiving end of a 5-yard touchdown pass from Matt Schaub. Texans go 97 yards and take 5.5 minutes off the clock. And we have seen some drives today. Deji Kareem is deep. A couple of yards deep in the end zone. Blocking in front. Spinning away. And spun down at the 25-yard line. Neil Rackers did the dirty work. Three minutes, 40 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter here at Reliant Stadium. Houston with a 27-17 lead. We are told that linebacker Zach Dials is gone from the game with a concussion. He's been replaced by Xavier Adibi.
Well, Jacksonville is doing nothing in their passing game.
Jennings straight ahead and out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. A reminder, a new team takes the field tomorrow morning here on CBS. Start your day with Erica Hill, Chris Raggi, Jeff Glor, and Marisol Castro on the early show beginning tomorrow right here on CBS.
Well, I'm anxious to give them a look and try them out. That's are you a morning show person? I am. I have got to.
Yeah, I am.
I've got to have. No, seriously, I need my news in the morning.
2nd and 3rd. 2nd and 3. Jennings picking his way across the 35 to the 37-yard line.
Well, you know, Jacksonville, is still running the football, but, keep in mind now, the Houston Texans own the worst pass defense in the NFL, and yet the Jaguars have only attempted 11 passes. They've only completed 4 of them, and it's for a grand total of like 35 yards. This is a free pass for this Texans pass defense.
Jennings inside or across the 40 to the 41 where Eugene Wilson makes the stop. Rashad Jennings is a young man who wanted to come out here and make a statement. Meanwhile, word from Indianapolis is the Tennessee Titans have scored.
I am most impressed with Tennessee's competitiveness and hanging in there and playing Indy straight up. Well done, you guys from Nashville. I didn't think they could do it.
2nd and 6. And without the threat of a passing game, Mr. Jennings is going to find it going tough on the ground.
I know that David Garrard is injured and back home in Jacksonville, but you know, Trent Edwards, he's not chopped liver. I mean, this guy has played, and he's played before in Buffalo, and he's got a lot of snaps in his 4 years in the NFL. And at some point in time, Jacksonville's going to have to try to do something through the air. You can't be this one-dimensional for 60 minutes.
Edwards needs the 47-yard line for a first down. From the shotgun, the pass right through the hands of his intended receiver, Jennings.
Well, even if he'd have caught that pass, what would that have gone for? A yard or two? You know, Jennings is covered. You can see right there. Adibi's right in front of him. That wouldn't have gone anywhere unless he was able to break a tackle. Jacksonville has got to get going in terms of trying to stretch this field a little bit. Take a shot.
Jacoby Jones is deep.
We're good.
And he'll return this one from his own 19. Cuts it back out across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Into the final minute of the third quarter, and things are not exactly going according to plan for Jack Del Rio. To repeat, this is what Jacksonville is after. The AFC South title and the number 4 seed with a win and an Indy loss. And right now, the Colts and the Tennessee Titans are tied at 20 late in the third quarter. Right now, Jacksonville needs a defensive stand, and that's not the way to do it. Arian Foster spinning ahead to the 38.
Well, this has just been a clinic by the Houston Texans offensive line in controlling a line of scrimmage and giving some huge holes to their running backs. Arian Foster, Derek Ward, both have really had some huge holes to run through.
And we've talked about how similar these teams are. Look at those numbers.
Well, they're going to have way into the 400s before this is over.
Foster on 2nd and 3. Stacked up at the 40. Forward progress will be marked just across the 40, close to the 41-yard line. Jeremy Minshew.
But what, you know, the difference between these two teams today, other than the 10-point advantage that Houston is enjoying, is that they have offensive balance. They've got a passing game, and Jacksonville does not.
We come to the end of 3 here at Reliance Stadium in Houston with the score: Houston 27, Jacksonville 17. Back for the fourth quarter after this message and a word from your local station. Along with our producer Mark Wolf, our director Bob Fishman, and the rest of our terrific CBS Sports crew here in Houston, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf. Happy New Year to you as we begin the fourth quarter. 3rd and 1 for the Houston Texans. The pitch for Foster, and Foster not going to reach first down yardage.
And that was huge for Jacksonville. Boy, did they need that.
So now Jack Del Rio's team going to get the ball back on the punt and getting close to the time where they're going to have to start doing some production on offense.
Yeah, they really are. They're going to have to stretch the field a little bit and challenge this pass defense of the Houston Texans. I don't think that they can, you know, cover up this deficit just with the game plan they've used for 3 quarters.
Matt Turk kicks it away. Mike Thomas down at the 13 or 14-yard line, and we have a penalty marker on the play.
Well, the penalty marker is all the way back at the line of scrimmage.
And Jack Del Rio says back him up.
Holding 85 of the kicking team. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
So we'll get a re-kick, and we will get a chance to say hello and Happy New Year in person once again. We talked about what's at stake here, and the Jacksonville Jaguars getting close to having to go all out because there's no telling what may happen in Indy with Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely right. And I think if you talk to most of the Jaguars, they weren't expecting help from Tennessee. They thought it was a lost cause, and now all of a sudden here it is. It's in their grasp. It's very, very close, but they're not taking care of their end of the business, because the reality is if Jacksonville loses this game, Indianapolis can get beat by Tennessee, and Indianapolis will still win the division.
You mentioned it earlier, Dan, that this Jacksonville team had it in their grasp 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis, had a chance to beat the Colts, claim the division. It didn't happen for them. You wonder how easy it is for them to forget about that and go about business.
Well, you don't seldom do you get a second opportunity, and they're close to getting one here.
They're going to let this one bounce, and it's going to take a Houston roll inside the 20-yard line all the way to the 16. That is a 54-yard punt by Matt Turk. Now, Trent Edwards' turn to rally the Jaguars. We're back after this. Just under 14 minutes to play here at Reliance Stadium on this final day of the regular season. Jacksonville still with a shot, but they have to start making some offense happen now. Edwards running out of time, and now throws complete across the 20-yard line. Jennings across the 25, and a first down. While we have a moment, Wednesday on Showtime, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Warren Sapp, and Phil Simms come your way on cable's longest-running show, the multi-award winning Inside the NFL, every Wednesday on Showtime. Dan, you get the feeling Trent Edwards needed that one every bit as much as the offense of the Jacksonville Jaguars did.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it still was a check down. Jennings did a good job after the catch.
And around. Mike Thomas to the 30. That'll be a 3-yard pickup. Antonio Smith, Eugene Wilson combined. Coming up on 13 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Plenty of time on the clock, but not much time for Jacksonville to squander offensive opportunities.
Can you imagine the disappointment that would just ricochet around the entire Jacksonville organization if they weren't able to get a win here, and if Tennessee beat Indianapolis? Can you imagine?
That score again at the bottom of your screen. And this screen pass to Rashad Jennings does not work. Xavier Adibi snuffed it.
Now, we all know that Jack Del Rio's team is playing without David Garrard, their quarterback, their offensive leader, and Maurice Jones-Drew right there, who made the trip. One of the great running backs in football, the Pro Bowl starter for the AFC, and because of a bad knee, you just don't see that every day, where a team loses both their quarterback and their leading offensive threat in MJD.
Jacksonville 1 for 7 on third downs today. On the blitz, got hit as he let go, and it's incomplete on the far side of the field.
Boy, Trent Edwards got hit as he tried to deliver that, but he delivered a football that was well out of bounds, totally uncatchable. Let's take a look at the pressure. A nice loop to the inside. Cushing comes a little late, but unable to step up into it.
This half for Jacksonville, 3 offensive possessions, 3 punts. Podlesh kicks it away. Jacoby Jones waits. Down at his own 22 or 23-yard line. 11:38 to play, fourth quarter. We're back after this. 11:38 to play, fourth quarter. Jacksonville in need of the football, some points, And a win here today combined with an Indianapolis loss in order to make the postseason. That pass is complete to Joel Dreesen. Dreesen down the sideline.
Well,
let's check in with James Brown in New York. JB.
Greg, as you know, Green Bay wins. They're in. They get their first touchdown of the game. Aaron Rodgers, the key play here to Greg Jennings, a 46-yarder down to the 1-yard line. Sets up a Rodgers to Donald Lee score. It is now 10-3, Green Bay over Chicago in the fourth. Greg and Dan.
All right, James, thank you. Dog fight at Lambeau.
Well, Jack Del Rio had just given his defense a big pep talk, and that play was a killer.
Arian Foster, running room, 25, 20, 10, 5, touchdown! A 41-yard pass to Dreesen, a 35-yard run by Foster, and that may take the air out of the Jacksonville sails.
Boy, on the previous series, they got a 3-and-out, and then this series, it's like they're not even there. I'm not sure until that play right there by Green at about the 3-yard line. Is there a Jacksonville hand that even touches Foster? I'm not sure that anyone even laid. If we were playing flag football, that result would have been the same.
152 yards and 2 touchdowns for the NFL's rushing champion this season, Arian Foster. Racker's kick is good. 10:49 to play here in the fourth quarter. And while the Texans celebrate, Jack Del Rio sees the season slipping away. The playoff picture as it stands now, only the AFC South to be determined, and Indianapolis with a win at home against Tennessee can clinch that. They are tied at 20 a couple of minutes into the fourth quarter at Lucas Oil Stadium. Deji Kareem will let this roll into the end zone and will not run it back. So they will start from their own 20-yard line, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are looking on, and not a whole lot of hope left in those eyes right now.
Well, this was the very first play of the Houston possession, and it's like the Jacksonville defense was taken totally by surprise as Joel Dreesen, it completely unattended, and then they come right back off the right side. And again, running backs don't often get to see that kind of running space like Arian Foster saw that time. The offensive line of the Houston Texans is kicking some rear end today.
Edwards will pump fake, goes the other way and has his man wide open, and he has him. Down the sideline is Jason Hill, and Hill is knocked out of bounds after a huge gain for the Jaguars.
Well, this has been a problem all year for the Texans. People getting beyond the corners, and the safety isn't there quickly enough to make the play. This is just maybe the first time today that it's really been challenged by Jacksonville. Great job by Trent Edwards of looking to his left, looking off the safeties, and then coming back to his right. That was really excellent work by Edwards.
That's a 44-yard pickup. Edwards with time. And has to throw it away. That pass to Hill was good for 44 yards. Arian Foster. Congratulations to that young man.
Yeah, Chris Johnson is still playing. Jamal Charles, his season is done until the Chiefs go into the playoffs, but I think, as you all know, the rushing title is earned during the regular season. Playoff yards don't count. They're in an entirely separate category.
Edwards on 2nd and 10 throws this one. That one is complete, and out of bounds at about the 20-yard line is Rashad Jennings.
Well, Rashad Jennings, having to fill in for Maurice Jones-Drew, has done so, I think, very well. 22 carries, 105 yards. He has acquitted himself pretty well in this game so far, and a threat out of the backfield as well.
First down from the 20. The give is to Jennings. Jennings can't find running room. Picks up 2, maybe 3. The young man from Liberty who was once at the University of Pittsburgh. Got rid of it, complete, but pulled down with Mercedes Lewis.
And pulled down inbounds. That was a nice piece of work there, and a good tackle by Troy Nolan.
As we come up on 9 minutes to play in regulation.
Two touchdowns and a field goal, and that's just to tie this game. That's a tall order for Jacksonville, but one touchdown at a time. One right here would be kind of handy.
Edwards under the gun and goes down. Amobi Okoye with his 3rd sack of the season.
And Okoye was the first guy there, but he was far from being alone. There's 91 Okoye. You can see he's got him first. There's Cushing hopping on top of Antonio Smith. Let's watch Brian Cushing and his work fighting through 2 guys.
And as you mentioned, Dan, they need 2 touchdowns and a field goal. They're going to go for the field goal here. 46 yards away for Josh Scobie. And he missed it.
Wow. Jack Del Rio has just got to be beside himself.
8:13 to play in the 4th. By virtue of that missed field goal, the Houston Texans get their best starting field position of the day at their own 36-yard line. And just back to eat some clock, but Arian Foster is decked back at his own 30-yard line by Russell Allen. In the middle of your picture there in the light blue sports coat and the red sweater is the chairman, the founder, the CEO of the Houston Texans, Bob McNair. Speculation has been swirling for the last half of this season, really, about the status of head coach Gary Kubiak, and lately rumors have come up that he would be retained, that changes would be made on defense.
Well, there's a lot of talk about Wade Phillips, another Houstonian who would come in and take over the defensive coordinator's job. You know, you hate to talk about a man's job because Frank Bush has that job now, and it's but there's going to be some changes made defensively. I don't think there's any question about that, and I think, like most people, I think Gary Kubiak will be on the sidelines opening day next year for the Houston Texans.
In all fairness, the quotes this week from Frank Bush, he feels that he is spending his last day here as the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans. And he admits things have hardly gone according to plan.
No.
Shaw setting up the screen. Foster diving across the 40 to the 41, but that will force the punt.
Well, Bum Phillips, who's just an icon here in Houston, was here at practice watching the Texans. Gary Kubiak used to be a ball boy for Bum Phillips back in the days with the Oilers. There he is with Bob McNair, the owner of the team, and a revered figure here. And Bum came out with just a total and 100% endorsement of Gary Kubiak and the job he's doing.
Meanwhile, you see Darrell Smith being helped off the field. That forced a Jacksonville timeout. And as things weren't tough enough for the Jaguars, they are down to 1 timeout remaining.
And I know everybody here in Houston knows this, but for the rest of you, Gary, when he was in high school, was a ball boy for the Oilers and a Houston native. And, you know, hey, the fans, after last year, a 9-7 finish, the fans wanted a lot more, and they're not They're not pleased with this team coming into today at 5-10.
Dan, we saw them opening day of this season in this stadium, and they spanked the Indianapolis Colts, and we thought that they were going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Sure did. Well, and then they extended that out and were 4-2 after 6 games. And then won 1 game since.
That is a horrible kick by Turk off the side of his foot. And Jacksonville is going to get some decent field position at their own 42-yard line. So 6:40 to play here in the fourth quarter gives us an opportunity to remind you Saturday, 2 scoops of women's hoops. Gino Auriemma's UConn Huskies, who fell to Stanford Thursday night, ending their record 90-game winning streak, battle Notre Dame, and then it's a Big Ten bash. Ohio State taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes. That's Saturday here on CBS.
Well, the streak is over, but what a remarkable accomplishment by Gino Auriemma and that group of UConn women Huskies.
Congratulations to Arian Foster, 6th player in history, 1,500 rushing yards, 600 receiving yards.
That'll sink in.
And again,
over the next couple days.
Not bad for an undrafted kid, huh? Edwards throws, Lewis hangs on, ball popped away, forward and covered by no one yet, and by the Texans now.
That's our first turnover of the game. 6:27 left in this game, and that's when we have our very first turnover. Take a look at it right here. Now Mercedes Lewis just has it poked out from behind. Glover Quinn, I believe, was the guy that knocked the ball loose. And then Troy Nolan was able to come in and cover it up. From behind, here comes Quinn, number 29. Pokes it out with his right hand. Mercedes Lewis had no idea that he was coming up from behind.
Dan, even Jack Del Rio allowed that it's a miracle that the Jacksonville Jaguars have the record they do with as many turnovers as they have coughed up this year.
Boy, and you know, and there was another, even though that ball was loose on the ground, Jason Hill, number 83, he's hurt, but he had a really great shot at the football. I mean, he was the only Jacksonville guy close in the ball. He had the ball and wasn't able to control it and gets hurt in the process. I mean, talk about emblematic here. Look at that. I mean, he's got it. He's got it, but he just can't control it, and he gets hurt. He gets hurt on top of it all.
You know what hurts more for these Jacksonville Jaguars? Indy and Tennessee still tied at 20. Foster to the 38. What's going on today? The Atlanta Falcons clinched the #1 seed in the NFC with victory. The Pittsburgh Steelers over the Cleveland Browns, they clinched the first round bye, winning the AFC North. How about the Oakland Raiders? Went into Kansas City and knocked off the Chiefs. And the playoff picture looks like this, with things still to be decided in the AFC South, although a Jacksonville loss here hands the division to the Indianapolis Colts. Foster. What a horse.
I just have one observation. The Raiders, for the first time in years, are relevant. They're playing good football. They derailed the Chiefs today, and Matt Castle and Jamal Charles and the starters were playing the whole game. If Tom Cable gets fired in Oakland, I'm not sure quite what to say, what that says about the Oakland Raiders and where they're headed and what they're looking for in a coach.
It has been their best showing in years.
I'm not Tom Cable's agent. I'm going to scratch my head and wonder, what do they want?
It has been their best showing since, it's hard to say when.
That's exactly right.
Foster. Meanwhile, opportunity to catch a quick glimpse of the NFC playoff picture. Atlanta, Chicago. Bears are losing to the Green Bay Packers. Giants are still in the hunt, and Seattle and St. Louis will battle for the NFC West title tonight.
So what we know is on divisional weekend, the 4 home teams will be Atlanta, Chicago, New England, and Pittsburgh. If you want to set your sights on either being there or tuning in, you know where the games are happening.
Schaub on the keeper is right at that first down marker at the 48-yard line.
3 of those games are going to be cold. One of them is going to be room temperature.
Man, Arian Foster, his resume just keeps expanding.
Keep in mind, this guy is in the 2nd year of a free agent contract. I would say that the Houston Texans have gotten, on a yards per dollar basis, a great value in Arian Foster.
And the income of an undrafted player.
Well, I asked him, I said, your offensive line is going to expect a gift. And he says, yeah, I know they are. But let me tell you something. It's going to be of more sentimental value than financial value. They need to remember, a year ago, I was on the practice squad.
They'll wait.
And he was. I mean, that does not happen every day, where the NFL's leading rusher the year prior was on the practice squad.
Well, Gary Kubiak told us way back in week 1 that he sincerely hopes this kid finally gets what it's all about, and he does. On first down, Foster running room, 45. About a yard short of another first down.
And you know what? Kubiak told us, I fought him every day. I fought Arian Foster every day, and look at the result. Because what we're seeing now is a polished back. Because this guy's got size. He obviously has open field speed. He's got vision. You know, he's got everything you want to see in a running back. He's shown durability. So I'm telling you something, if you want to get on Gary Kubiak for some of the things that happen in Texas, that's what goes with being the head coach. But you need to give him some props for what he did in bringing along Arian Foster.
Foster wrapped up back at the 45-yard line, and that'll be 3rd and about 3. And that will bring us to the 2-minute warning. Indianapolis in a dogfight at home. And you know what? They're about to be handed the AFC South Championship, no matter what they do there. Back to Houston after this. That's what the Jacksonville Jaguars are looking at, a loss handing the Indianapolis Colts the AFC South title.
Well, Greg, they finished the season with 3 consecutive losses in games that really mattered.
Boston. And we get timeout on the field. And Jacksonville uses its 3rd and final timeout to stop the clock with 1:54 to play.
I mean, it's been a disappointment followed by a disappointment followed by another disappointment. And not an easy way for Jack's team to finish this season.
34-17 Texans. A timeout, and we're back after this. You saw the reaction on the Jacksonville bench. On the Houston sideline, it's a whole different story.
And apparently, on 4th and 2, well, it's officially 4th and 3. It's a long 2. It appears that Matt Schaub and the offense are going to go for it.
Houston coming in here losers of their last 4. And it'll be a long plane ride home for the Jaguars.
Well, again, I guess it's Garrard and MJD just too much to overcome. But again, that doesn't explain defensively the way the Houston offensive line just completely dominated running the football. Houston with, what, 242 rushing yards? Whoa. That only happens when you've been physically dominated. That's the only way, when someone rushes for 242. There's no way to clean that up.
You know, and we talked about the Gary Kubiak situation. There have been rumors about Jack Del Rio's future in Jacksonville as well.
Well, he'll meet with Wayne Weaver, the owner of the club, just like he does every year.
4th and 3. Arian Foster will get the call and is going to be short of a first down. So the clock stops with 1:46 to play, and the Jacksonville offense will take over.
Looks to be about a half a yard short of the first down.
Hey, those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. Our game between Jacksonville and Houston. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. Houston leading the Jaguars 34-17. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast.
They're bringing out the chains. They're going to measure this. It looks like he's just a hair short. He got closer than I thought, but definitely.
You know, that's about the only thing that Arian Foster hasn't accomplished this afternoon. (1,616 rushing yards this season.
And he's going to trip over his own guy. You can see right there he trips over his left tackle, Dwayne Brown. Other than that, he'd have picked it up easily.
Edwards throwing. And that looks like it'll be enough for a first down to his tight end, Mercedes Lewis.
Trent Edwards just in Jacksonville on a one-year deal. We'll see where he ends up next year.
Four-man rush, short pop over the middle. Rashad Jennings, and Jennings inside the 40 to about the 37 or 38 yard line. Lots of congratulations to the NFL rushing champion, Arian Foster.
Well, every guy on that team can take some satisfaction in his accomplishment.
Edwards throws, and that one's in the dirt. That'll stop the clock at 1:03.
Well, the players all talked about wanting to go out with their heads up. This is how you do it.
Said Derek Ward kind of took him under his wing.
If 6 and 10 can have some satisfaction to it, that's what it looks like.
Edwards on 3rd and 1, throwing over the middle, incomplete. It'll be 4th and 1. And once again, Mercedes Lewis, his intended receiver. Boy, 2 weeks ago, we did that meeting between Jacksonville and Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium, and to a man, starting with Jack Del Rio, they said, we expected to be in this position, and it just didn't happen for them.
No, it didn't.
On 4th and 1, Edwards sneaking for the first down. And we have 50 seconds to play in the regular season here in Houston. Edwards down the sideline. It is intercepted. Picked off by Troy Nolan. And that will put the cap on the Jacksonville season. And I'm sure there's a little celebration going on in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Well, the Colts are in the playoffs for what, the 9th consecutive year. You can see Osgood's open for a while, but the ball needed to get there about 3 yards back upfield. Nolan had plenty of time to come over from the safety spot and make a playoff.
This has been the Jacksonville offensive story in the second half. A punt, a punt, a punt, a missed field goal, a fumble, and an interception. One kneel down, and the Indianapolis Colts are the AFC South champions. That'll do it. Congratulations to the Indianapolis Colts, the final piece of the AFC playoff puzzle. No matter what happens in their game against Tennessee, the Colts are winners. our final score. Houston 34, Jacksonville 17. Up next, 60 Minutes, followed by new episodes of CSI Miami and Undercover Boss, and then another CSI Miami. For Dan Deerdorf, Greg Gumbel, so long from Houston. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. To James Brown in New York.